Everyone, we're going to get started, but we have a surprise guest that I didn't even know was coming. The head of the South Carolina Democratic Party, Ms. Crystal, is here. And she's going to start us off, but I want to ask you, do you all have one of these? Yes. Because there's a ballot inside, a sample ballot, and it might help you to follow along with this, to keep all the names in order. And if you need a pen or a ballot, raise your hand so one of the ladies can come get you one. Down in front. Can't hear you. Okay. Now? Hello? Oh, yeah. There we go. So keep your hand raised high if you need one.
Hello, everybody.
Whoa.
Like they said, my name is Crystal Spain, and I am the chair of the South Carolina Democratic Party. Even though some days I feel like the ottoman, but I am the chair. I refuse to be the footstool. But I am so glad to be invited. I thought I was invited to this event. I get so many events, I don't know if I was invited or not. But I am so glad to be here in Oconee, beautiful Oconee. The last time I was here, it was a great event, but some of y'all neighbors are a little rabid, but I came back. They're not gonna run me off. But it is really great to be here and to be here with so many dynamic candidates that you guys are going to hear from today. Like was said earlier, we have had a historic candidate recruitment effort. For the first time, I think in about 50 years, as far back as we were able to really go, we have a Democratic candidate running for every 124 House seats. We've got a Democratic candidate running for all of the 7 congressional districts. We've got a Democratic candidate running for all of the constitutional offices, from governor all the way down to superintendent of education. And we've got Democratic candidates running for U.S. Senate. So what that says is there's no reason to show up and vote. On June 9th, everybody's got an election to vote in. So no longer can you say, I'm not voting because there's nothing for me to vote for. That's a damn lie. You have an election on June 9th. You've got people to choose from. You've got an election in November. And like was said earlier today, there is no plan B after November, y'all. We have to win. Or that's it. You all can see what is happening at the State House. They have the numbers. They have had all the numbers for 25 years. If they want to draw new maps, they will draw them. And Oconee will be in the same congressional district with Columbia. As Jamie Harrison said, you know, that it's got to be blasphemy for Clemson and USC to be in the same congressional district. So they're not playing around, and we can't play around. We cannot no longer afford to miss any election. So in June and in November, you have to vote like your life depends on it, because it does. Please understand that this is not a drill. We have seen how ruthless the Republicans, and you all know. We didn't know. Y'all know. We know how ruthless they are. So please, please make sure you show up and vote. Pick your candidates today. People are here. There's other folks who aren't able to make it, but you need to choose your candidates, and you need to ride that horse all the way to November, because we have to win in November, y'all. But thanks so much for giving me a few minutes, even though I wasn't invited for real. It was just on my calendar. Thank y'all so much.
Tonight that needs to get out of here, so I'm going to make sure to get right to it before I get to anything I was going to say. We have a woman who has been nominated and won 2026 Librarian of the Year for the entire state of South Carolina. And she's right here out of Seneca Middle School. She also won 2026 Movers and Shakers of the Educator Award. So I want to get Miss Cassie Owens-Moore up here just to give her a little gift and a little round of applause. And on the front lines.
You should never give me a microphone, because I'm going to talk about how awesome my school is, how awesome my students are, and how much I love my job is even like wrong for me to call it a job. It is just my passion. And so there's so much noise around books and what we're doing with books. All librarians want are for books to be representation. We have so many diverse students in our school and in our community, and it's unfair for them, to be marginalized because of a community, because of an identity. That is not who the librarians are. We don't gatekeep. We want all of our students to be able to access what they need, when they need it, because that's I didn't have that growing up. I didn't find books that looked like me, and maybe that's why I'm so passionate about it now. I don't want anyone to grow up and feel like you are invisible, like you don't matter, because you can't find a book that reflects who you are. And so, thank you so much. Like I said, don't ever give me a microphone. Thank you so much. It's a beautiful crowd, and just sincerely, I appreciate it.
So good evening, and I hope y'all had a wonderful Mother's Day. A little loud. Okay. My name is Becky Hicks, and I'm here to represent the Oconee Women for Progress. We're a little group that started up here in the Upstate to bring some change up here. And we have a lot of people to thank for getting here tonight, because this isn't a one-man or a two-man or a 10-man show. It took a lot of people. So I want to thank the Anderson County Democratic Party and of course, the Oconee County Democratic Party, because they helped financially, they helped organize, they helped with my phone calls, they took them all the time. So thank you very much for those two parties. I have a special call out to Laura Zenteno from the Oconee Democratic Party. If she's, where is she? Where is she? Come here. This woman has been my right hand, helping me get all these candidates here. She knew everybody, and if she didn't know them, she found out who did know them, so I could get them all here. So just a little gift for Laura. Laura's back here. Another person I want to thank, but I don't want her to walk down here, is Miss Patty. We have a woman who started a brand new Oconee Indivisible, and she's amazing. So I want to make sure she knows how much we appreciate her as well. This is for her. Okay. So she's got the new Indivisible Oconee. Please go to her website, and they're on her t-shirts. Get a t-shirt on your way out. She, both of these women, Patty and Laura, have pursued bringing progress to the Upstate relentlessly when there are very few people behind them. And now they've got all of us. So I encourage you to give them more support. Thanks to the Seneca River Missionary Baptist, who stepped up to give us our alternative rain location. We didn't need to use, we took the water and we came anyway. So I just want to say that tonight you are sitting among quite a few esteemed community leaders, including Seneca City Council people. I think we have Lakeisha Benson here tonight. I think so. I'm not sure who else is here, but I noticed her. We have the president of the League of Women Voters, Ms. Pat Spurlock, here tonight, right back there in the purple. I believe we have the NAACP Oconee president, Dexter Robinson, here tonight. And we already mentioned our lovely Cassie, the Librarian of the Year. So I also want a quick shout out and thank our volunteer musicians who gave us some wonderful music, and our food vendors, Callie's Mexican Grill and Carolina Sweet Creamer. You must try both of their wonderful food, wonderful vendors. So with that, welcome to Biggerstaff. Now you know why we brought you here. This is the most beautiful and befitting place that I could think of to ignite an awakening here in the Upstate, because that's about what we need. Yeah. Yes. I'm gonna move on. So I think we're kind of at the stage in the awakening where we've been organizing, we've been trying to seek justice where we can find it, and we've been reasserting our rights anywhere we can in response to this lawless and inhumane administration. But it's not enough. The Republican supermajority at the federal level and here in South Carolina have failed us in every discernible way. And by us, I mean all of us, whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent. I don't know who isn't hurting from this administration here in South Carolina or the federal. It's time to put our differences aside. We need to unite everyone and get everyone to the polls to elect people who will protect all of our rights, who will protect all of our laws, our economy, and our environment. So it's time to move to the stage of an awakening, and I believe that's the stage where we all fight back and we find the leaders who will stand up in front of us to do it, and that's who we brought here tonight for you to meet. So with that, you all have your ballots so you know you can follow through and see who's on the ballot? Okay. So we're going to start out with the federal candidates we invited here tonight. We've already gone through and endorsed for Senate Miss Annie Andrews, Dr. Annie Andrews. That's why we didn't invite the Senate candidates here tonight. So what we're going to do is go right into the U.S. Congress, and once we get done with the U.S. Congress, we'll drop back to the state level. So we have two candidates running for the U.S. House of Representatives. The two challengers are Dr. Ernest Mackins and Eunice Lehmacher. So why don't we start off with Dr. Ernest Mackins.
First of all, I want to say good afternoon to everyone. I hate standing way up there behind the mic. I want to get out here with us. Dr. Ernest E. Mackins, I'm the candidate for U.S. House District number 3. Let me tell you a little bit about my background, because some people always say, well, what's your qualifications? Well, I have 28 and a half years in education. I am a U.S. Army veteran. I'm the Senior Vice Commander of Post 6089 in Anderson, South Carolina. I have 15 years of experience as a retail store manager, business leader. So with all that being said, I believe that I'm the best candidate for this office, because it is about experience, but it's also about leadership. And when you are a leader, you have to make tough decisions. Now, I'm going to get quickly to my points, but I also want to tell you this about me. If you, it's not just going to be me by myself, if you send me to Washington, D.C., I'm not going to go over there and play patty cake with them. I'm not going to shake hands. Look what's been happening for this last 25 years. People been playing patty cake with the Republicans, and look where it's got us. It's got us, the Voting Rights Act been gutted. It's got us the fact that they have not passed the Joan Lewis Voting Rights Act as well. And then also it's got, look at gas prices. Go to your pumps and just try to pump you a gallon of gas. See, they're up here playing around while people are trying to, just get through life, and we're struggling. But see, for these people in the high office, they don't care. So let me talk about my points. First of all, I believe that women should have equal rights. And that includes civil rights. That also includes rights for any group. And let me just say this to you, and I want to put it in plain English for you. If you diminish one group, you diminish the whole. Have any of you ever read the poem by John Donne? John Donne tells you the whole story. So you're hurting one group, you're going to hurt the other groups. And I believe in equal pay as well, equal pay for women. And then most of all, I believe that we should do this change. We need to move the minimum wage from $7.25 to at least $15 an hour. See, some things got to change. Second thing I believe in universal health care. And what I mean by that, listen, go ahead. That's correct. I believe in universal health care. Let me tell you why. I tell you why, because we have 40 industrialized countries in this world. 37 of them have already accomplished this task. What's wrong with the United States? Why can't we be number 38? You pay enough every year. I know I do. Every time I see my check stub, they're taking more out of it. But I'm not getting anything else. Next thing I want you to understand, that if you send me up there, there's going to be accountability and opportunity. Okay? These people need to be held accountable. Everybody in here, every candidate up here will be better than what you got right now in the U.S. Congress and the U.S. House. But I want to tell you this. If you send me up there, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm not just going to impeach them. I want to impeach them and remove the whole administration. But we can't do that without getting a full House and a full Senate. See, that's what people don't understand. And for the first time, I want you to hear this. Until candidates start going to jail, or these people, these senators, and these House members start going to jail, there will never be transparency in the government again. We need real transparency. We need real people who are going to go up there and stand on business for you. I love my Hispanic students. They tell me to stand on business. And so we're going to stand on business and send me that. And then the final thing, we need to protect our education system. They're trying to gut the Department of Education, taking everything away from the people. And then the last thing I heard you talk about, I believe, I'll be very brief on this part, is the fact that we need to protect the environment that's around us. Look at what we see sitting in right now. Just look at it. It's beautiful. It's outstanding. This is what we need. If we don't take care of the environment right now, future generations will never enjoy what we have today. So, guys, it's time to select a candidate that's going to go to Washington, D.C. and fight for you. That's Mackins for USHouse.com. Mackins for USHouse.com. Go to my website, check me out, see what I stand for, and then, listen, make a donation. If you can't make a donation, at least tell 5 people that I'm running. If you can't tell 5 people I'm running, then volunteer for my campaign to help me out. It's time to make a change, and we can't do that without you all. So thank you for having me. God bless you.
Hi, my name is Eunice Lehmacher, and I'm ready to be your congresswoman. Hello, I'm Eunice Lehmacher. Can you hear me now? Thank you for the tip back there. I'm running to be your congresswoman. When I was a little girl, I lived in the house next to the church, and people came and asked my dad for money. Back then, there was trouble with getting enough food and gasoline as well. And when people came to my parents' store, do you know what my mom and my dad did? They said, come in, have dinner with us. Now, let me tell you, as a little girl, I wasn't always thrilled to share my mac and cheese and share the floor. I like to talk. But boy, did I learn about people month after month, year after year, that we all matter. No matter what you smell like, what you look like, who you love, we're all important. My parents taught me those values and many others, and I took them with me into my profession. I became a high school math and physics teacher. I was a librarian. And for the last couple of decades, I've been a social worker serving at Prisma Health, Oconee Memorial Hospital. I worked at Hospice of the Foothills. I had my own private practice here in Seneca, and I've volunteered in the community for years. Right now, I'm a psychotherapist for Included Health. And I know a bunch of you know me. You've either been served by me or worked with me in a community organization, or you just know me from being at things. So if you know me, would you raise your hand right now? So look around you, talk to one of those people. Those are all people who know that when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And somebody that raised their hand is right next to you. So please talk to them. I want to change what's happening in Washington. I have hundreds of ideas. You can look me up on my website. That's euniceforsc.com, or follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or Blue Sky. But let me give you just a couple ideas of what I want to do. I care about the we, us, and our. I care about all of us, and it's because I spent all those decades working with students and patients that I discovered it's not the patients or us healthcare professionals, it's the government that's getting in the way, that's stopping people from succeeding. I worked with people who had to choose between getting their medicine or keeping their home, some of whom lost their home. So I want to take care of all of us. Our leaders right now, Sherry Biggs, who's the incumbent, and our president, are using other pronouns. They're using the pronoun of he, whatever he said, me, how can I make money off this office, and them. There's a problem, who can I blame that on? And when I find them to blame, I don't have to do anything. I want to do things, right? So, for example, healthcare. Yes, we need universal healthcare. How are we going to get there with a Congress that right now passed less laws than any Congress in history? We have to start small. So I want to take the Medicare age down to 64, my first year. The environment. Yes, I want to take care of not just the next 2 years, but the people who live here in 7 generations so they can see this too, right? So I want to get back those subsidies for renewables. You know, the people of Australia are getting free electricity 3 hours a day starting next month. That sometimes in Texas they have so much electricity they have to give it away. It is also sunny in South Carolina. We need government to make it so that we can build the solar and the wind and the other renewables, and so that your utility prices go down. Of course, I want to stop putting money into wars and putting people in detention. We're spending several million a day to detain people who are legal residents of this country, right? So let's put money into people and not into wars and prisons. Now, you are going to get to vote in the primary on June 9th. You get to choose who's going to go up against the Republican. So think about who is the person who has demonstrated that they're about more than just themselves, that they're about the voters. Who has demonstrated they have a campaign that can win against Sherry Biggs. For example, I have already over 200 donors. I have over 40 volunteers. Look around, see how many people are wearing my shirts today. We are phone banking. We are canvassing. People are writing postcards. I just videotaped a digital ad that we're going to be running just to let people know. As you know, only about 10% of people vote in the primary. So we're going to get that word out on digital spaces. So vote for the candidate that you think can beat Sherry Biggs in November, and vote for me on June 9th. That's Eunice Lehmacher for U.S. House.
Okay, let's go backwards, get back down to the local county offices, and then we'll work our way up through the state. So seat 1 is John, goes by JB, Brubacher, and he's running uncontested, so you're not going to see him on your ballot in June, but we still want to let him say hey to y'all. So come on up, John. John, let's go. Hey, better late than never.
Unexpected. My name is John Brubacher, and I am running for. Hi, my name is John Brubacher, and I am running for Oconee Council District 1. And if you had a chance to see my sign at my desk, or at the out front where we were handing out materials, I'm all about, let's go blue. And when I speak about blue, I'm not talking about how we all feel after watching 5 minutes of Fox News. So what really brought me forward in this whole race is just the ability to ensure that all people have standing. The biggest thing that I believe has happened nationally, locally, etc., is that people are losing standing. Everyone deserves a voice. Everyone needs to belong. And I think that, I know we talked about let's do away with things, but that's my main point, is really let's make sure that all people have standing, we have a voice, and that we think in that way, and that we all have value. And I'm really going to cut it short because I know there's a lot of people who need to speak with me, and the other candidates, of course. But thank you for the time, and actually I didn't think I was going to get a chance. So thank you for letting me introduce myself.
Next up for seat 3, we have 2 challengers. We have Devin Clay and Lee Sheehan. So let's start with Devin, and then Lee, you can follow right after him.
All right, before I get started, I just want everyone to clap their hands for Rebecca, the organizer of this event. Thank you so much. It's absolutely beautiful. None of us would be here if it wasn't for her and the other organizations who work together to make this happen. And as I start my speech, I'd like to dedicate this speech to my mother, Dreama Clay, the program director of Ripple of One. She's not attending today because she's currently dealing with permanent nerve damage in her mouth, so she's unable to speak at times. So I just wanted to dedicate this to her because without her, I wouldn't be the man I am today. As I look out at this crowd, I'm reminded why I started my campaign over a year ago as the original candidate for County Council District 3. Instead of focusing on grassroots issues that directly impact the constituents of our community, our current county council decided to push national propaganda that divided our county into two. I know a lot of us saw this. I made the decision to rally my community together, to work with news organizations such as Fox Carolina and WYFF, to stand up against our current county council for introducing 287G, an ordinance that would allow police officers to act as ICE agents in our county, and as well as the ban on DEI hiring within our county. Both those ordinances, ridiculous, and they make no sense for our community. You guys agree? Yeah. Thank you. The reality is that Oconee has a serious problem in terms of the DI hiring with minority representation. We only have one black-owned restaurant in Seneca, and this is the largest minority population in this county. It's funny enough, I helped start the only black-owned restaurant in Clemson. I helped bring them in and help kind of grow them to what they are today, Nick and Mike's Bar and Grill. And my goal is to always, as a business owner myself, own a consulting company for over 7 years, my focus is always to uplift small businesses, especially minority and black-owned businesses. Because at the end of the day, they deserve spotlight as well, as much as all the other ones do. And even when you attend our Chamber of Commerce events, I'm an avid goer, there's only one or two of us in the room, and at the end of the day, that has to change. I'm tired of the good old boy system that has been instilled in county council. And it's time to make that change. And we have to be history makers in Oconee County. It is time for District 3 to elect its first ever African American to represent County Council. Across this nation, we are facing difficult times, and I am proud to be a part of the movement that is fighting to protect this country from racism, fascism, and corruption. To my opponent, Mr. Sheehan, I respect you a lot, sir, but this is not your time to represent this county. This election is for every young African-American, minority, boy or girl, man or woman who feels that they don't have a place in Oconee County, and that feels that Oconee County is leaving them behind and feel like they can't stay and prosper here because of the hatred that our county council is pushing. We must stand together and ensure that everyone has a voice at the county council level. My grandmother, former councilwoman, Miss Ruthie May, my cousin, proud county councilman in Beaufort County. I'm here to continue my family's legacy of service right here in Oconee County, District 3. I'm the people's candidate, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Jamaican. We are all in this together. My focus during this campaign and my time of office will always be safety, affordability, and small business kids. Because you know why? Clay don't play. So you vote for your candidate for the District 3 race on June 9th. And I'm just again thankful for so much of all you guys coming here. As third vice chair of the Oconee County Democratic Party, as a business owner here, I thank you for standing up and being a part of the change that is about to happen in our county, and our state, and in our country. God bless America, and God bless Oconee County. Go Democrats, County Council. Later.
My name is Lee Sheehan. I am a candidate for Oconee County Council District 3. I'm going to pick this up and move as well because I can't stand still and talk. I've been talking and my voice is a little crackly because it's just leaving me after talking to so many folks. Tell you a little bit about myself. I'm retired. I worked for Duke Energy for 37 years, mostly at the Oconee Nuclear Station. I'm an engineer by trade. I worked as an IT specialist, an engineer, and a cybersecurity specialist. I also have an MBA from Southern Wesleyan University. I am running for county council because I can't stand by. I'm an older man. I am retired. I cannot stand by and watch and listen and hear what's going on currently in our county council. The 5 members that make up this council are all of the same party. of the same social club, of the same mindset. They get into something they call group think. They vote the same way all of the time. I have counted, I've been to many county council meetings. In the past 300 votes, except for 2, they have voted 5-0 in favor of whatever they're voting for with 0 discussion. They don't discuss what they're voting on. Either they've discussed it before, which by the way is illegal, or they have the same mindset that has been ingrained in them. So where does that lead us to? That leads us into a very precarious position. Right now, this county, over the past 6 years, is $22 million over budget, either over budget or under collected in taxes. The current council blames that on the administration, the county administrator who they fired. But that doesn't tell you all the story, because this current year, they are $6 million over budget. Just 2 weeks ago, they moved money from Tri-County Technical College, from Health and Human Services, from Emergency Service into the general fund just to cover that $6 million deficit for this year. And there was 0 discussion on this money, 0. I happen to believe some of it's illegal. It is certainly unethical. When we pay our tax dollars to fund Tri-County Technical College, we don't spend that money. We don't allocate that money for anything and everything that comes along in the general budget. What else have they done? This is a real problem for me, is the Sewer South project and the Oconee County Commerce Park, the Oconee County. Over the past 20 years, we have spent $30 million of our taxpayer money to develop these areas, and we have 0 tenants at this point in time, 0. We are not making any money. And on top of that, the current county council in 23 took out a $25 million bond to further build in this area. What this amounts to us is my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren will end up paying this money over their lifetime back in taxes. So we need to make a difference. We need to make a change. We need to remove one of these county council members and put somebody in there that has a little bit of business sense, that will work and do the right thing. There are other people that, Devin is also running, and I've known Devin for many years. I've known his mom for many years. And this is not about me and Devin. This is about calling this county council out and putting them on notice and telling them that we're going to replace one of them this time, actually 2, because JB's running for District 1. We're going to replace 2 of them this time and make a difference. I appreciate your attention, and I thank you for your vote on June 6th.
Somehow I messed up some names. I want to fix that right now because I'm not about to let this one go. I said the NAACP president with the wrong name. Oh, Lord. So we have George, is it Anderson? Okay, is with the NAACP president. And it's Dexter Robinson is the moderator of Seneca River Union 3. Okay, that's fixed. Okay. All right, y'all, we have 3 state houses that have some people here for you to meet tonight. We have State House Rep for District 1, which I believe is Oconee and Pickens. We have 2 challengers, Ms. Juni Lynch and Jasmine Williams. So let's start out, I don't know, Juni, you want to come up first? Okay, take it away. Can everybody hear me? Louder? How about now? Read it? Good? Okay. My name is Juni Lynch, and I'm running for South Carolina House District 1. Is that better? I'm running for House District 1 because
Speak up,
deserves Oconee County deserves a choice. Bill Whitmire has sat in that seat
for 24 years. He's been unopposed since 2012. And we have not had an opportunity or a choice.
We can't hear you back here at all. Becky, can you help her out?
Yeah.
My next line in this is, I'm not great at speeches. But I am a good fighter. And I'm here to fight for my people. I've heard a lot that Bill Whitmire does not show up. He's not at our events. He's not talking to our people. He's not representing our community. And I show up. I'm good at fighting for people. I'm good at making sure people are not ignored or left behind. And I believe that just because we're a rural county does not mean that we don't deserve the same access to health care and infrastructure and utilities. I'm running because working families are exhausted. People are working very hard every single day and are struggling to keep up with the rising costs: fuel, health care, child care, and there's not jobs in Oconee County to support the housing that has boomed. We need a leader that understands what this day-to-day life looks like if we want people to stay in Oconee County. I'm running because government should not just work for the insiders, not for the special interests, and not for the loudest voices in the room. This campaign is not about political theater. It's about people. It's about getting families to stay in our community. It's about helping our seniors who have to choose between medications and groceries. It's about young people wondering if they're going to ever be able to afford to stay here. District 1 deserves leadership that listens, leadership that shows up, and leadership that remembers who they work for. I'm Juni Lynch. Please choose me for your primary on June 9th.
Everybody, can you hear me? Yeah. You can hear me go, woo! Yeah. You can hear me say, thank you, Becky.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Thank
Becky.
you, Becky.
Thank you, Becky.
Hey, everybody. My name is Jasmine Williams, and I am running for South Carolina House of Representatives for District 1. So if you are from Oconee County or the left corner of Pickens County, I am on your ballot. I'm happy to be there, and I'm talking to you right now. I was born and raised up the road in Long Creek, South Carolina, so I've got Chattooga River water in my veins. And until now, I have dedicated my career to environmental nonprofit work in the Upstate. So I am not a career politician. Very far from it. But I am running for office today because I am sick and tired of having representation like Bill Whitmire, who, as Juni said, has been asleep at the wheel for 24 years. And wakes up whenever it's time to bootlick, and the majority needs a bill passed.
Yeah.
I think it is. Thank you. I think it is the greatest failure of our current representatives that making the bare minimum of what a state should provide for its people into a partisan issue. This is not red versus blue. We rank 43rd in education, yet instead of adequately paying our teachers, incentivizing them to move to rural areas, or offering universal free lunches to children in a place where they are legally required to be, our representatives have decided that this is a partisan issue. And let me tell you, a hungry child does not ask who you voted for. We have over 83,000 residents in South Carolina who fall between the gaps between Medicaid coverage and healthcare subsidies. And instead of turning to the no-brainer solution of expanding Medicaid coverage in this state, which we are one of only 10 states who has not done that yet, the health of our people has become a partisan issue. The healthcare gap swallows up red and blue just the same. Instead of thinking outside the box to fix our roads, it has been decided that the roads we all drive on are not a priority. And if you have ever driven on Cobb Ridge Road, you know that that pothole does not care if you have a MAGA hat on your head, it does not care if you have a pride sticker on your bumper, you're hitting it. Instead of raising our minimum wage, once again, the obvious solution to achieving affordability in this state, it has been decided Also, they haven't done that since 2009. Can you believe that? It has been decided that affordability for all is now somehow partisan. And they'd rather focus on the important stuff, like putting off our midterm elections so that they have time to gerrymander our state. Have you ever seen them work so fast to get anything done?
No.
If they put that type of energy into something we actually needed, we would all have health care.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I cannot promise you everything. But I believe that you deserve better. You deserve someone who is going to fight like hell to get the bare minimum issues of accessible education, affordable health care, reliable infrastructure, and an attainable cost of living to the forefront of the discussions in Columbia, and you deserve someone who will not drop that conversation, who will keep talking about it, and who will not shut up until these issues are addressed. And I promise that I can do that for you. So once again, my name is Jasmine Williams. I am on the ballot for State House of Representatives District 1, and it would be an honor for me to have your vote. Thank you.
Next, we have State House Rep for District 2. She is not contested in the primary, but I want you to meet her. This is Candace Scott, running uncontested.
Yes, one gets Scott done. Good evening, my name is Candace Scott, and I'm running to be your next South Carolina State House District 2 representative. That encompasses the eastern half of Oconee, which is mostly Seneca and Fairplay. It also has a little tiny section of Pickens that's inhabited by squirrels. I love animals, so I'm hoping for the squirrel vote. And like other candidates here today, I'm running to work on things that matter, things that are going to help us because we're all hurting. I'm not interested in making mifepristone controlled or banning or making ivermectin OTC. We need Medicaid expanded so people can have health care that need it. I'm not interested in wasting time or tax dollars on naming interstates on undeserving podcasters. I'm ready to work to get our roads and bridges safe that we can travel on and also make our infrastructure up to date so we can handle the growth that we're about to see. I'm also not interested in mandating religious texts being plastered all over the walls of our schools. Instead, I'd rather see our schools and universities fully funded. Even if they uninvite me to speak, I still want them fully funded, and teachers need the resources that they need to do their job. I don't have a primary, and I have plenty of time to pester all of y'all for money and votes and help, and so I really want to spend my last minute with a little bit of a call to action. Sitting on the sidelines is no longer an option. Our voting rights are in jeopardy, and we all have to vote. I know probably everyone here has a voting plan, is planning to vote. You showed up to hear from candidates, so I appreciate that. Thank y'all so much. But there's two things that I want to see y'all do. I need y'all to talk to everyone about voting. School, work, neighborhood, when you go to the salon, when you go to the grocery store, make sure they're registered and they're voting. You can go to scvotes.gov and look up, if you're registered, where you're voting, who's on your ballot, all those things. Second, I need you to commit to getting 5 people to the polls. It could be your neighbor who needs a ride or someone that doesn't have a car. It could be someone under 30 that maybe just isn't paying attention, doesn't know there's a primary. We need everyone to vote. So I really feel like that's the best thing we can all do right now to help our district and our state is get people voting. Vote early, just vote. So I just want to thank Oconee Women for Progress for hosting this because it's always awesome and their attention to detail is my love language. Also want to wish happy birthday to Sally and Rita. So happy birthday.
Next, we have State House Rep for District 3. That is Claiborne Linville. She is also running uncontested. She just wants to say hey. Hey.
Hey y'all, my name is Claiborne Linville. I am running for South Carolina State House District 3. That is over in Pickens County, Norris, Central, 6 Mile, and Clemson. I actually live in Clemson, and in 2022, I was elected to Pickens County Council for the Clemson seat. So I am currently the only elected Democrat in Pickens County. Yay! Do not applaud that, y'all. That's not a good thing. I appreciate the support, but we're here to work on changing that, right? So what I want you to know is that I am an elected Democrat in one of the reddest counties in the entire country. This is possible, and you are here because change is possible. On county council, I have had to work with Republicans because that is the reality of where we live. And I have experience doing that. And we've had some really great successes over in Pickens County. We got the largest road grant ever granted in Pickens County came in this year. We fully expanded and improved our emergency response center system, which helped a lot during the Table Rock fires. And I was able to secure money to expand a child care center in Easley. And for 3 out of my 4 years, I pushed back on library overtaking. So we've been doing a lot of good work, and I'm ready to take that work with me to Columbia. And when I say work, I mean it. I am not going to leave my husband and 2 young children behind to go talk about a bathroom bill for 3 days and not talk about things that actually make life better for people in Pickens and Oconee County in the upstate of South Carolina. I went into politics to make life better for my neighbors. That's it. And I'm not going to go over there unless that's what we're working on. The 3 things I'd like to really focus on that a lot of people here have mentioned is affordability. I'm on a state child care commission. I've been researching for years how to expand affordable, high-quality child care, which helps every single person across the economic spectrum to succeed, as well as our children. I also believe that we need to be offering more tax incentives for developers to build attainable housing. So in counties like ours that might not have county councils who are friendly about that, we'll have state incentives to make sure that attainable housing is being built where we need it. And obviously we need to increase our healthcare Medicaid premiums that we're paying providers so that we get more providers in rural counties like ours willing to work with Medicare patients and more people eligible for Medicare. I also care deeply about education. I've got 2 children in public schools. I'm also the co-founder of a public charter school in Easley that serves children with dyslexia. I've spent a lot of time learning about what works in the classroom and what doesn't. And while I'm proud of our state for increasing teacher pay, there's a lot more work we can do to improve the classroom experience, helping protect teachers and create a safe environment, as well as using science, research-based tactics to help get our kids to succeed when they're in school. I will always support our universities. I'm married to a Clemson professor who's the son of a Clemson professor. I will defend our universities and stand up for our libraries. And finally, and this is my most Republican talking point, I firmly believe it's time to push back against government overreach. As a politician, I do not want to be in a room between you and your doctor. I do not want to be in a bedroom with you and whoever you love, and I do not want to be telling you how to parent your children. It is time to push back on these issues that don't matter and get actual work done. What I'd like you to take away from my speech today, that means that, because we're hearing a lot of awesome people, is that I am in a seat that is winnable. I am a blue dot in a red county, I recognize that. But my seat, there's been a lot of amazing Democratic building in this seat in the past several years, thanks to Eunice and many of y'all here. But nobody has run recently in a midterm year. We have the numbers of the Democrats who showed up in a presidential election, show up in a midterm. I have enough votes to win. My seat is flippable. So what I'm asking for y'all who are all here, maybe you don't live in Pickens County, if you can stop by my table, it's got an American flag on it, and donate time, treasure, or talent to helping this seat, it would mean the world to me. Tell people to vote, get people out. Thank you so much. I'm Claiborne Linville.
We have one last State House District 4 for Pickens. That is Derek Kraus. After he's done, we're going to the state level. So, I mean, not the state. You are the state level. I'm sorry. Statewide is what I meant to say. So, everybody on the stage, you can go except for the ones up to speak, Derek, and all the rest of them, please come up behind me. You did a wonderful job. So let's keep her moving. Go Derek Cruz. Okay. So everybody else is up here for governor. Everybody. You're all here? All right. Go ahead.
Yep. It's going to be easy. I appreciate it. Going last, there's not much to say. Everybody's already said it. So I'm running for District 4, which has been Republican held for the last 40 years, 32 of which was unopposed. They've just been handing it down, including now. My opponent has been bequeathed this new position by the current tenant because he worked on his campaign. So really, if you had asked me about a year ago if I was going to do this, I would have laughed and said no. But hard times require people to stand up.
Woo! Yeah.
And though I'm not a political person, I know how to work with it. I've been a network engineer for 25 years. I've lived around the world, stationed in Korea where I met my beautiful wife. She was stationed there as well. Lived in Germany. Sorry about that. Is this much better? Okay. So if you didn't hear everything before, I can't repeat it because I don't have time. So anyway, the biggest thing really that we can do is continue to grow and let other people know that we exist. We're Democrats. We care about our society. We care about each other. We want the best for everyone. So we need to be fearless. Be out there, talk to our neighbors. When we're in church, talk to our people that we may feel a little bit of timidness with, right? But let's be fearless. It's okay. We need to also push back and make sure that people know it is socially unacceptable to be treated the way some of these people do, right? Really, that's all I have to say because everybody else has already said it, and these fine folks up here have more to say. So I'm Derek Cruz. I know I represent the Pickens and Liberty and Dacusville areas. So if you're in that area, or if you can donate your time or monies or talents, that'd be great. Thank you all.
Okay, next we're going to go to State Treasurer. We have two challengers for that seat, and that would be Mr. Vincent Coe and Trav Robertson. So Trav, why don't you start us out?
Woo. I'm gonna stand up here so everybody can see me. Thank you. I'm a little more vertically challenged. You know, coming up here tonight, I can't help but remember Jody of, Mike Abbott and Maxie Duke. The only two Democrats that have ever convinced me to chase a greased pig at hillbilly days. My name is Trav Robertson. I'm running for treasurer of South Carolina. I was born and raised in Anderson. My mom was a public school teacher of almost 48 years, and my dad was a clinical psychologist who ran the Anderson Oconee Pickens mental health centers. They taught me what it was like to live on a school teacher's budget, and they recognized that if you spent too much, you were going to have to sacrifice somewhere. And raising 3 kids on a tight budget, things could get out of whack. Grady Patterson, the longtime state treasurer, taught me how to manage the South Carolina State Treasurer's Office when I worked for him. Right now, people are hurting. People are trying to survive on ends meet. The fact is, chicken is going up, the tank of gas is going up, a dozen eggs, the pack of chicken that I used to buy for $15 is now almost $30. And we pay Curtis Loftus $165,000 a year. We give him a defined benefit retirement. We give him health care. We give him dental. We give him eye care. And you and I, as I filled up that tank, and they've heard me say it, the $67.31 I paid to get up here, we give Curtis Loftus a free gas card. Because we give him a free car. And he has one job, and that is to put our money in the right bank account, manage that money, make a little bit on it, and go to the Board of Economic Advisors and the General Assembly and say, this is exactly how much money you have to appropriate in your budget. He lost $1 $1.8 billion. And we give him a free car to do one job. Ladies and gentlemen, if I'm your treasurer, I will make sure that we bring financial integrity, financial stability back to the state treasurer's office. I'm asking you for your vote. I'm asking you for your support, because our communities are growing at such a rapid rate that we have to have a treasurer who can get rid of the Securities and Exchange Commission investigation, and a treasurer who can find $1.8 billion. Because the simple truth is this: he doesn't deserve another free car. Curtis can't count. I'm asking for your vote and your support in June. Thank you very much. It's good to be back home in the
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. So I was in Greenwood last weekend and I took it there and I'm taking it back here. Fired up? Fired up? All right, all right, all right. It is an honor to be here with you all this evening. My name is Vincent Coe and I'm also running for the office of treasurer. This is a unique time in our, not only our state's history, but I think on the national level. And I have not seen louder. Oh wow! I've never used to put so many. Okay, all right, all right. Can you hear me now? All right. So again, Vincent Coe, and I'm running for state treasurer. I am from Darlington, South Carolina, born and raised here in the state, and I am just blessed and fortunate just to have the opportunity to be on the ballot to hopefully become your next treasurer. Hopefully I'll be the first African-American treasurer that has been voted in this office since post-Reconstruction. Looking forward to, we can do that. So a little bit about myself. I'm a former bank examiner, and I do want to just take a moment. I'm not a politician, but I've certainly worked in state government. That's how I started my career. I started off at the Lieutenant Governor's Office on Aging during college, and I worked for the Office on Aging, and I helped seniors and people with disabilities. And I say that because we talked a little bit about that earlier, about we needed to get back to talking about people first. People first language. People first. It's the people who we are trying to represent. I have a set of skills that is unique. Former bank examiner with the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. I worked on Wall Street. That's how I started my career. And I left South Carolina and went away and got enough skills and thought I'd bring it back home to the state of South Carolina. As was mentioned about the office of treasurer, let's just go and let you guys know the current treasurer was voted to be removed from office by the Senate last year. That's a fact. You guys can look that up. He was voted to be removed. The House didn't take it up, and because the House didn't take it up, they decided to put it into the hands of the citizens. So we're putting this in you guys' hands. It's time for this gentleman to go home, retire, because you all have 1.8 billion reasons to vote for Vincent Coe. 1.8 billion reasons to vote for Vincent Coe. Y'all can check out my website, vincentforsc.com. And I have my bank, my bag, I forgot I have my little pen on. I'm the vice president of a bank in Greenville, South Carolina. So my career has been in banking. I know banking, I know how to make the numbers add up for South Carolina families. That's why I'm running. I'm not running for another title. I've had titles. I'm running to help the people of South Carolina. And together we will move forward together. Fired up! Fired up! Fired up!
Ready to go!
Next up is our State Superintendent of Education. There are two challengers, but we have one here tonight. She happens to be a real good one. Miss Sylvia Wright, here you go.
It's always great to be here in Oconee. My name is Sylvia Wright, and I'm your candidate for State Superintendent of Education here in South Carolina. I have over 20 years of experience in the classroom, or in education. I've been a classroom teacher, a department leader, an instructional coach, a school coordinator, and a district coordinator. I actually resigned from my district coordinator position to run full-time for state superintendent because that's how dedicated I am to improving public education here in South Carolina.
Yay!
I'm a mom and a grandma, so I understand the need and the want for your child or your grandchild to have the best educational environment and experience. I've also been a classroom teacher. I know how it feels to try to have to survive off of new teacher salary. When my husband and I were first married, he was in the military, so he was early enlisted, and I had my new teacher pay. But I remember having to eat oatmeal for dinner. I remember our lights were cut off. Have you ever been to the grocery store? You had to put food back because you didn't have enough in the budget. I understand that struggle. So that's why raising teacher salary is important to me. It's a priority. When I first started running for this position, the main question I would get is, why are you running? And I'd say my grandson, because what I want for him, I want for your kids and your grandkids. But the question I get now is, what qualifies you to be superintendent of education? But it's okay. There are 3 things: leadership, management, and judgment. Leadership, building capacity in others, building relationships. Management, managing funds, programs, initiatives. And judgment, looking at the data, not just testing data, but the data that comes from talking to the teachers, the students, the people doing the work, finding out what resources they need and provide that. I've done all this. Like I said, I've worked on every single level. And we've been in the bottom 10 for the past 20 years in education. We rank 43rd, like was mentioned earlier. And so that leads me to the last question that I usually get is, well, how are you gonna fix it? Because there's a lot of work that needs to be done in education. But there are 3 areas where I'm gonna start. My top policy priorities. First, expanding early childhood education. Right now, it's income-based. So if they can't, if they don't qualify for income-based, they have to pay for private preschool. You guys, that leaves a big gap of students who do not have access to early childhood education. And the data shows that only 39% of kindergartners demonstrated readiness. So I'm going to change that by working with the General Assembly, and we have universal pre-K for 4-year-olds. Next is school safety. Thank you. School safety, and I'm not just talking about intruders. I'm talking about buildings with mold. Buildings that when it rains, it floods, and the kids have to be rerouted to the other side of the building, disrupting learning. I'm talking about bullying.
Yeah.
This is all school safety, student misbehavior. I got the wrap up, so. And so that's school safety. And last but not least, I'm going to improve our teacher pipeline by, in exchange for paying tuition for the people in the education program, they'll give us 5 years of teaching with priority in our rural and underserved communities. So that's just a little bit of how we're going to start to improve education here in South Carolina. So my website is right2026sc.com. I need volunteers, I need donations, but most importantly, I need your vote on June 9th. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Next, we have the State Commissioner of Agriculture. He is also running uncontested in the primary, but given the countless challenges facing our farmers, especially here in the Upstate, being surrounded by all this beautiful farmland, I thought it was really important that you hear from him. So please welcome Mr. DeShawn Blanding.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Let's try this again. Good afternoon. There we go. I love the energy. I'm DeShawn Blanding. I'm your Commissioner of Agriculture candidate. Now, how many of you, by a show of hands, have heard of the Commission of Agriculture? Okay, a good bit of hands. All right, how many of you out here are farmers? All right, hey, farmers, all right. How many of you grew up on a farm? Well, how many of you here like to eat every day? Right. So all of us out here. So the Commission of Agriculture role touches every part of our lives to every person in this room. It's the food, the fiber, the fuel, the forestry we need in order to sustain ourselves. That's agriculture. So it touches every person in here, whether you are a farmer or you shop at the grocery store. And the Commission of Agriculture's job is to make sure we have abundance and we have enough food, fiber, fuel, and forestry to make sure we have the resources we need to be successful. It is getting the food from production to all the way to the people. And the whole process in between is making sure a strong agricultural economy in our state. And we need a Commission of Ag who is rooted in our communities, but grounded in a future that's going to get us to a better system, because agriculture is a $50 billion industry in the state of South Carolina. And for the ones I talked to out here today, what number are we in the nation for worst food security? Who remembers? 7th in the nation for worst food insecurity. That means our people are going hungry, but we're an agriculturally rich state. And we need to do better from that production to the people pipeline. And there are three things our campaign is about focusing on. One is making sure we have the production system we need. Farmers don't have the support to be successful. This crazy war is driving up the price of fertilizer, and it's driving up the price of fuel, and farmers are struggling. My great-grandfather was a third-generation farmer, passed it on to his son, my grandfather. But my grandfather told his kids as the fourth generation to not go into farming and agriculture. Not because he didn't love it, he literally died doing what he loved. But he told his kids not to farm because the road was hard as a farmer. And I'm hearing farmers across our state tell me the same thing today. And then people are struggling to get access to food. Food is high. And it is ridiculous that people are spending so much on their food and not being able to have the security they need and paying their bills over buying groceries. That is unacceptable. And so we need a commission agriculture who's going to build that pipeline, and that has been my experience. I've worked in Washington, D.C. I've led federal agricultural policy for both the United States House and the Senate Committees on Agriculture. I've been an agricultural advocate for the last 10 to 15 years. So I know how to get the message across, I know how to make the policies to make the change, and I know what our farmers and our communities need to be successful. So when it comes to November, make sure you vote for me because I bypassed June, fortunately. But there are other candidates out here who need your support as well. So make sure you show up in June, and then when you show up again in November, you vote for DeShawn Blanding for Commissioner of Ag. To all of your friends, to all of your family, because we need all of the volunteers to make this change. We should not be dealing with food insecurity in an agriculturally rich state. And this is why I need your support. This is why I need your vote. This is why I need your volunteerism. This is why I need your donations. Because we can do better as a state. Our campaign is called Rooted Forward. It's about being grounded in our roots while focused on a better future for South Carolina. So on the count of three, I want everyone to chant Rooted Forward with me. 1, 2, 3, rooted forward. 1, 2, 3, rooted forward. 1, 2, 3, rooted forward. Let's go get this win in June, and then let's get this win in November. Thank you.
Okay. We've got two left for you. For South Carolina governor, there are three candidates running. One didn't RSVP. That's my little jab. He couldn't drive over from Greenville. But we have two that drove a long way, and I sure do appreciate the effort they took to get here. So the two on the stage should deserve a big round of applause for that. We have Mr. Mullins McLeod, and we have Dr. Jermaine Johnson. Mullins, why don't you start us off?
I drove 4.5 hours for one reason. Not to give a campaign speech, not to pander, to make you a witness to what is going to happen. I will be our state's next governor, and it will have nothing to do with me. It is something God has chosen to do through me, a surrendered vessel, and many other people. Now I want to tell you why me and why now. So I come from a family that's known two lines of work for more than 100 years, and that's law and public service. Not politicians. Politicians have selfish and prideful hearts. They see public office as an opportunity to enrich themselves. Public servants do not. They're in it for one reason, to serve others. When I become our state's next governor, I will be the fourth generation public servant of South Carolina, all Democrats, I may add, in my immediate family. 100 years ago, Thomas Gordon McLeod served our state as governor. He was the first person to nominate a woman to be vice president of these United States. So growing up, my mother used to tell me about the parable of the talents. For whatever reason, it stuck with me. And all I wanted to do growing up was figure out whatever little aptitude the good Lord gave me. And whatever that was, I wanted to maximize it. The truth of the matter is, I wasn't very good in school. I was good at sports, football and baseball. Somehow I managed to get through law school. And when I started practicing law, I figured out this thing comes easy to me. To see the truth, to speak the truth, to take a lot of data and see how it all fits together and what it all means. The truth is, my career took off. My track record of being someone else's voice, representing someone else's interest, carrying their burden when it's too hard to carry, is unmatched in our state's history. That is the truth. I now understand that had nothing to do with me. It was him all along. You see, this spring, I was preparing to run for governor. I spent 5 months at my desk doing all my research, just like I prepare to do all my other cases. You know, I took the Mother Emanuel case when a white supremacist killed 9 parishioners. I represented 3 of them. It's one of the darkest moments in our state's history. I can't tell you how many lawyers told me, Mullins, you cannot win. You'll waste your time. You'll waste your money. You'll waste your talent. But you see, the good Lord put a heart in me that's been towards justice for as long as I can remember. And he put a righteous fire in my belly that burns hot. I now understand it is the spirit of the truth. So after 5 years of me pouring myself into that case, just that one case, I settled it for $88 million, one of the largest settlements of its kind in U.S. history, one of the single most important pieces of social justice in our state's history. Here is the truth, folks. Justice does not exist, it must be made. Change does not happen by chance. You must force it to happen. So this spring, I was literally getting ready to run for governor, to begin a political campaign. And something transformative happened to me. He ignited a storm in my life. I now understand why. Because although my heart had been bent towards justice for as long as I can remember, my heart belonged to me. It did not belong to him. And 70 days after that storm ended, I surrendered for the first time in my life. I got on my knees now. This is important. You need to understand he is on the move. I will be our state's next governor. So when I got down on my knees, I said, dear Lord, I do not care what I do for the rest of my time on this side of the soil. The only thing I care about is fulfilling your plan and your purpose for me. I told him I'll go to seminary school. I'll practice law. I'll sell this big house on the battery. I do not care. And I got up off my knees, and right before I went upstairs, something right here in the back of my belly told me to go outside and get some fresh air. I walked out on my front porch. It's about 6:30 in the evening. My wife and our young children were upstairs getting ready for bath. And the minute I got on the end of my porch, I'm hurrying, but this is important, so I ain't stopping. I'm here for the Father's business. So right when I got on the end of the porch, a guy was coming down my street who knew I was struggling with whether or not to run. He's a believer, by the way. And right when he got in front of my house, when I got on the end of my porch, his window was down, his white pickup, and he stopped. He looked me square in the eye, and he said, let's go. I knew exactly what that meant. I went upstairs, and I told my wife, honey, you're not going to believe this. God just told me to run for governor. Now, let me tell you why now. Everything that you think this America is about is at risk to the beast itself. And it is known as artificial intelligence. When you go home tonight, research. Bill Gates says that all of the jobs will be gone in 10 years. That's all. Capital A, capital L, capital L. Okay? Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, literally says that artificial intelligence will most likely be the end of humanity. But in the meantime, there'll be a lot of good corporations. Here we are 250 years into this experience known as America, this experience known as South Carolina. God's children are trapped in an incredibly corrupt political system where they have no access to quality education. They have no ability to earn their way out of poverty. They have no ability to earn their way up and out of this life. That's a problem. And I know that if the jobs are gone, then literally greed itself is going to take us right into the devil's workshop. Because idle time is the devil's workshop. Now here's the thing. This political establishment in South Carolina, it is corrupt to the core. Both sides of the track. These for-profits have been rigging the deal for longer than I've been alive. For longer than I've been alive. That is the truth. That's why nothing changes. That is why nothing changes. And so I just want you to remember, you don't have to believe me. You don't have to vote for me. Just remember that you were here on this day at this time, and that I shared with you that the change that matters is coming.
Separation of church and state.
That's a great question. That's a great question.
It's not a question, it's a statement, it's a fact.
No, let me explain that to you. So the reason how we've gotten trapped is the Republican Party has told this state a lie from the gates of hell. What they have tried to do is force our God onto others through the state. That is wrong. What they have tried to do is judge others for where they may or may not go to church. That also is wrong. You see, people who know him like I do know that he does not force himself on anybody. That's why he gave us free will. And he's certainly not going to force himself on others through the state. And so, see, some people just don't want to hear it, and it's okay. My campaign is not for everybody. My campaign is only for those of us who live in light and walk with the truth. But here's the beautiful thing. Servant leadership is for everybody, because the only label that matters is human being. And my job is to serve every single human being that calls this state home. Thank y'all.
Listen, it's the governor race. I'm gonna let him rip. So Dr. Jermaine Johnson gets the same amount of time, which whatever that was, you just do it.
Good evening, Democrats. I am Representative Jermaine Johnson, and I will be your next governor of South Carolina, y'all. Listen, I'm just honored to be back up here again, hanging out with y'all, because we have a state to save. We have a state to save right now, in this moment, at this exact time. See, I always talk about my history and the story of how I became the man that I am today. And I talk about how I was homeless and how I went to 7 different high schools, and how my first memory was my brother running away from home and being shot and killed by his best friend, and going through all those different things. But also, on top of that, what I was able to do was achieve the American dream by working hard, by getting that education, by earning my doctorate degree, by going to the College of Charleston and playing basketball on a scholarship, and also just giving back to the community. Now, when I went to go play professional basketball, I retired in 2015 after my other older brother, he passed away in a tragic car accident. And I came home because I wanted to be a husband and father to my family. And when I got back home, it was very difficult for me to transition into being a civilian. Because all of my life, I've been playing basketball for survival. I've been playing basketball for food, for shelter, for clothing. And I did not understand how to transition. And me and my wife, we had to end up going to counseling, because I just couldn't operate right. And when my bank account would get to a certain amount, I literally would have cold sweats. I had anxiety issues. I couldn't sleep at night. And I went to the counseling, and then I ended up creating a nonprofit organization, because I wanted to make sure that people did not have to go through what I went through coming up. I created this nonprofit to help young people, to help military veterans, and to help people who have been to prison to get a second chance at life. And that is what has got me discovered. I ended up going to an event in my community to help advocate for a young person who had just been stopped 3 times in 3 days by the police in the area. They had searched him and they let him go. And I went to this event to go advocate for him. And after I got done advocating, I got a standing ovation, y'all. I was like, man, it's crazy. But then as I was leaving this facility, I got a tap on my shoulder, and this gentleman says, Jermaine, you're exactly what we need. You're the future. These young people, they look up to you, they want to be like you, they respect you. And that's how I got involved with politics. That's how I started getting involved with the Young Democrats. That's how I got involved with the Black Caucus. That's how I got involved with everything. And I decided to run for office in 2020. And when I ran for office, you know what happens when a young person decides to jump out there. You're too young. You're too inexperienced. You need to wait your turn. And the one they also used to tell me was, Jermaine, you're too black. They're never going to elect you. But I ignored all the noise. I ignored all of that, and I ran for office anyways. And on election night, I was teaching a class at Webster University, and I got text messages and phone calls saying, Jermaine, you won. You got 76% of the vote. I became the first black and the youngest to represent my district in House District 80. We made history. So when I tell my entire story, I tell everybody literally, I went from no house to the state house. No house to the state house. And I travel around this state trying to let young people know that your past does not define your future. You can be anything you want to be. You can do anything you want to do. You can go wherever it is you want to go. But you have to have faith. And you have to work hard. And you have to make sure that you are keeping your nose clean and doing what is best for you and your families. And that's what I'm doing all the time. And now, after I've been in the State House for 3 terms, a lot of y'all got introduced to me from this viral video that went around the country where I was fighting against the diversity, equity, inclusion ban. And once that happened, I got messages and phone calls from people all across South Carolina. Then I started getting phone calls and messages from people all across America. And then I started getting messages and phone calls from people all across the world. And they said, Jermaine, you gave words to my pain. You spoke to what I've been feeling. And we need you to do more. And that's when I decided to say, you know what? I'm going to run for governor of South Carolina. Because the people need a voice. Because in this state, for over 23 years, this state has been run by a single party. Single party rule. We have seen a Republican governor. We've got a Republican supermajority in the House. A Republican supermajority in the Senate for the first time in 150 years. We've got a Republican agriculture. We've got Republican education. We've got Republican, all the congressional districts with the exception of Congressman Clyburn. Every single leadership position, comptroller general, everything is Republican-led. So what is the excuse? We have given these individuals all of this power to change our lives, but yet they have done nothing. They have been irresponsible with the power that we have given them. What is the reason why we have counties, 17 counties without an OBGYN? Why are rural hospitals closing down? Why are we 43rd in education? Why do we have to ride over those 100 potholes to get here today? Why are we dealing with all of these issues in the state? It's because they don't care. Status quo keeps them in power. Status quo keeps everything the same. And we know what happens when status quo, these individuals, they continue to line their pockets with power. This is what happens. But in 2026, y'all, I think you know now, in 2026, in November of 2026, we have an opportunity for the first time to flip this state blue. We have candidates up and down the ballot, and I promise you, with a Jermaine Johnson at the top of the ticket, this state will be blue in November. Thank y'all so much.
I don't even know why I'm bothering to be up here after that. I just wanted to say thank y'all for coming on behalf of Oconee Women for Progress. And I wanted to say a couple things real quick. I'm speaking again to those independents, to those people that used to vote always with the Republican Party. This isn't just for Democrats. I want you to think about judging who you support for a candidate based on what they bring to the table and not which table they sit at. I believe that the Democratic Party, you saw here tonight, has done a phenomenal job in getting candidates to run for these offices up and down the ticket to finally give voters a real choice in 2026. So with that, thank y'all for coming. Please stay and engage with the candidates. Eat some food from Callie's Mexican Grill and from Carolina Sweet Creamery. And we'll see you at the polls on June 9th. Thank you.
Get off the stage.